We like to think that we are in control of our lives and our emotions, or maybe we think that we're not in control of our lives and our emotions, but we can be. Like, there's a lot of stuff in the realm of self help and self development about, trying to control your emotions. And the thing is that it just cannot be done because you don't choose your emotions, and you can't choose your emotions. There are definitely things that you can do to um, to improve emotional well-being. For instance, you can start eating healthy, you can start exercising more, you can start taking cold showers, you can start doing breath work, you can start meditating, you can start disciplining yourself and challenging yourself. And all these kinds of things do help, you know. Compare someone who eats shit and that plays video games all day and that doesn't get enough sleep, and compare this person with another person that is, doing the things that I just described, eating well and all that. There is obviously this person that's doing these healthier things is gonna be better off emotionally and physically and mentally and whatever else, That's just obvious, but it's important to understand that even the intention to improve your well-being is not in your control. There's no, like, you don't have a choice really um, to do anything really. The choices that you make are dependent upon your conditioning and your upbringing and your environment, and there's an infinite amount of factors that go into who you are and what you decide. On the conventional level, of course, you can make choices, you can make decisions, but the choices and decisions that you can make are based upon all the other factors that go into your life and your environment and all this kind of stuff. The choices that you make are based on what your life looks like, and if you go back and back and back and back and back and back, you didn't choose to be born, like the person that you think you are with choices, that person didn't choose to be born. And so, you know, it's like that choice just then, that choice, that decision, that intention to drink to drink some water, was that my choice, or was that just a choice? Was that an intention that just arose within me based on other factors? I'm thirsty. Why am I thirsty? It's a hot day. It's this time of the day. I haven't had a sip of water since this time, and everything goes into it. Everything goes into it. So anyway, what I find interesting is trauma and anxiety, stuff like this. So there's some perspectives that you can have around the trauma that you have. There is a perspective of taking responsibility for your trauma. Trying to kind of six camera. Taking responsibility for your trauma and stuff. And there's a perspective of, well, this trauma that I have is never was I didn't choose that. I'm not responsible for it. And both have a validity, and both have a dark side to it. And it's about finding that middle way, I think, because if you don't take responsibility for your trauma and you just say that it's like, oh well, it's down to causes and conditions in which I didn't choose, this whole, I didn't choose all this trauma and shit. This is just my upbringing, my conditioning. If you do that, there's a danger of blaming other people, and there's a danger of just doing nothing about it and being miserable, and then just saying like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. But likewise, if you say that I'm responsible for my trauma, I'm fully responsible for my trauma, and I've got to figure it out and do that. With that perspective, there's a danger of thinking that you are this separate self, separate from the environment around you and stuff, thinking that it's all up to you, and not realizing that there is this interdependent web of interconnectedness in which you're not seen. So it is about finding the middle way, but ultimately, whatever happens was never in your control, because there is no you that is in control. Everything is just an unfoldment of nature, and you are no different from nature. We like to make this duality of natural and unnatural, and we think that people have this free will, but insects don't have a free will. Insects are just going by the law of nature, but humans, we have this free will. Or trees and plants are just doing what nature's doing. That's just they're just going by the laws of nature. But then we look at humans and stuff. We look at humans and think that no, we have a moral obligation or whatever, we have a free will and stuff. And it's useful sometimes to perceive it as if we do have free will, but it's also important to remember that humans are no different to nature. And the free will in which you do perceive in humans is again nature. And I think even if you look at plants and stuff like that, you could even say plants have free will. The way that their branches grow towards the sun, that is in a sense an aspect of free will. But again, it's also an aspect of that's just what nature's doing. That's just a doing of nature. That's just nature being nature, right? So, yeah. So there's this interesting duality of free will versus determinism, but ultimately I think it's one and the same thing, really. Yeah. So I want to get back to this thing of trauma, really, because trauma is really something that exists in the body, and it has to do with your biology and your physiology and your nervous system, and it I think a lot of people think about trauma as something that's psychological, and of course, you know, physiology and biology, and that, you know, there is a there's, you know, psychology is within that realm, really. I mean, if you think about our brain and our thoughts and our mind, that our thoughts, you know, if you're coming from this neuroscience perspective, then like the neurons that are firing within our brain that are making thought and stuff, you know, well, that's a physical process, isn't it? So that's really no different, you know, that's a physical process. So is this mind and body duality? There really is no duality between mind and body. So triggers are an interesting thing. Triggers. Getting triggered. So, an interesting thing is that you could hear a sound, or, yeah, you could hear a sound, and, you know, just as an example, you could hear a sound, and that sound brings up a memory in your body, and your body goes into this anxiety. Your heart starts racing, your throat gets all choked up. Whatever other symptoms you get in your body, well, this is a trigger. This sound is a trigger to this. This is trauma, really. And the thing is that, you see, your mind could be completely clear. You see, your thoughts aren't saying like, oh shit, like, you know, your thoughts aren't fucking racing about worrying. It's your body. This is interesting. I don't really know what to say about this. I don't really fucking know what else to say. But it's interesting to see this cause and effect thing in real time. Again, like a thought could happen. Just one singular thought that conveys a little bit of meaning, and then just by that one little thought, your whole body goes into fear mode for an extended period of time, just by one thought. And it's hard to even know why this is happening. Because you can rationalize it and think about this logically and be like, well, I'm feeling this fear because, when I was a kid, I got told to shut up and sit down and not speak, and I got told that I was inadequate in some way. But ultimately, that's just like a story, and the way that you remember, you never really remember accurately. And then, as time goes on, you start remembering a memory, and then remembering a memory of a memory, and on it goes, and you get this whole story twisted up. So you don't actually know what's going on. And all you have is now, anyway. You only have the memory that exists in your body. I don't know, just some thoughts. Anyway, catch you later.